than an eternal wrapped of darkness. Wrapping of darkness. This world of obsidian black is as heavy as the ocean's depths, burdened with a clinging viscosity. It presses down relentlessly, a freezing cold trying to crush my skin, my fingers, the insides of my eyes, my everything. And yet, still I must reach up toward the heavens. I must escape from this prison into which I have been cast. But how? It feels like I'm down in a deep slumber. My consciousness seems to be blending into this infinite vista of light. My entire body feels faintly warm. Is this gonna be it for me? Is this my eternity? I realize the sound is now reaching, scratching deep inside my ears. The sound of cicadas. To start, but it's only faint and distant. It swells like a wave rushing toward a crescendo before slipping away again. A little longer, and it becomes clearer, more pronounced. An image swells up in my mind of trees filled with cicadas, each one desperately chirping away their brief slice of summer. In the same moment, warm and humid air bathes my entire body. It isn't unpleasant. It feels clingy, sticky, like being enveloped in syrup. Such a warm and pleasant feeling. The light all around me is so brilliant. I can't even open my eyes. Soon, however, I notice dim patches, like clouds amid the brilliance. They dampen the light down. I raise my hand to try and block out the sun. It seems to make my surroundings easier to see. I also become more prescient of my body. I have hands. I have eyes. I have a body. I mean, of course I do. And yet it still feels like some big revelation. I start to move my arms, bend my fingers, and confirm my body. The brilliant white all around me gradually calms down. As it does so, my awareness of self and my surroundings sharpens. Gradually and gradually I find focus. Yes, I'm sitting down. Sitting on a hard wooden bench. A vivid orange color is starting to spread before my eyes. Above that brilliant stripe is a dazzling blue sky. A summer sky, spreading as far as the eye can see. I fix my gaze intently on the clouds, suspended listlessly against that blue. Then I realize that I'm sitting beneath some kind of roof. I slowly take a moment to look around. I'm still surrounded by the ongoing cacophony of cicadas. A dusty smell fills my nostrils, the odor of old wooden buildings. I know what this place is. An old train station. There's even a train stop to the platform. I can't see any people. I can't hear any talking. There's no wind. And it's like the clouds, the very air around me is pinned in place. The inside of my head starts to throb. If this is a station, was I headed somewhere? If the train is here, maybe that means I just arrived? I regained all my facilities, at least. My surroundings coming into complete clarity. It might have just stopped raining, since I see vapor rising from puddles in the ground. What was I doing here? I really have no idea. I try to remember, to think back, but all I can see is the white-filled world from before. What happened to me? Why do I suddenly wake up here, of all places? I look at my hands again, still puzzled, wondering if I have any possessions with me. No, I don't seem to have anything. My name? Nothing. I don't even know that. My family, the house I grew up in, nothing comes back. I look down at the pure white one-piece dress I'm wearing. A breeze suddenly blows past me, the air coming alive. The straw hat on my head is almost blown away, but I hold it down with one hand. Just like the sound of the cicada slowly worked its way into my body, now something else is slowly filling my body. A clinging sense of dread. I don't know where I live, who I am, even my name. What should I do now? There has to be something. I woke up here, which means I must know this place. I need to look around and try to find a clue, a hint, a fragment of anything to jog my memory. If I find people, if I talk to them, I'm sure to find someone who knows me. Something has happened to me, and my memory has become muddled. That's all. I'll start by taking a look around the station. Having made that decision, I slowly stand up. Press that, and the next place you can go, you can search below. Take a look around the station, press Y to change option settings, and check controls. Okay, the first thing I want to do is this. I apologize immediately for how loud that was to start off. I was not expecting it to be that loud. Okay, sort of six. Let's see here. So move. Change viewpoint is right trigger. Jump is X. Crouch, run. Search mode. Story hint. I should look around the inside of the station. Alright, so let's see here. Okay. Whoa. Oh. Okay. What was the run is left bumper? A small staff room from a small station. It looks like someone was working here recently, but I can't see anyone now. Trains probably only depart infrequently from such a small station. When the staff are on break, maybe they all go away somewhere? Yeah, already. Oh, okay. So I see. Okay, so so all those. Okay, so if it's a white thing on the ground, that will continue to tell the story. Got it. Okay. So there's one there. There's one over there. There's all that back there. Okay, so let's see. This is run, right? There's a public restroom here. No one appears to be using it, and I don't need to either. All right. So what was the one over here? How far do these tracks lead? It's a great question. Alright, so there's those two there, that one there, that one there. What's this one over here? I don't have any recollection of this station name. Natsugiri? Why did I wake up here? What made me pass out? Alright, let's see here. I should look around inside the station a little longer. Okay. I mean, do I go inside the train then, I guess? The train doors are wide open, but there's no sign of a driver, conductor, or any passengers. The train is completely quiet, a slumbering metal giant. Maybe we'll get underway soon? I don't think there's anything more inside the station. I'll try heading out into town. Then, I have a good idea. Stations always have a notice board right outside them. That should have a map and tourist information. That might trigger something there. That might be something there to trigger my memory. I decide to head outside and take a look. Is there a door on this side? There is. Okay, beautiful. I guess I can't open it, right? Alright. So let's see here. So all the stuff on this side now is now gone. So that's kind of interesting. So it shows up when you're... It shows up when you're doing that part of it, but when you're not doing that part of it, it goes away also. I need to turn this down more. These cicadas are annoying. Alright. Okay, so there's one there. And of course. Oh, alright, there's something right there. Welcome to Natsugiri Town. There's a brief description of the town and a map here. A quiet mountain stream, soothing beach, historical shrine, and a spread of nostalgic countryside scenery. There's some more stuff about some old mysterious legends, but overall it seems like a pretty unremarkable countryside town. Is this really where I'm from? I hope I can meet someone I know. I look around but see no signs of any cars or people. Ah! I turn around and notice something promising. There's a shabby old bookstore across the road, and the door appears to be open. There might be someone inside. I should go over and take a look. Oh, so we just said there's no cars? There's a car right there. Like, there's literally a car right there. I was like, look both ways. There's a car over there, too. Alright. So I'm assuming that this is the bookstore, then. Alright, let's check the thing. Alright, right there. Hello? I call out a number of times, projecting my voice to the back of the store. No matter the number of times I call, however, I get no sense of anyone actually being here. But no, that's not quite right. The old books are piled up haphazardly on the shelves and in cardboard boxes. The slightest tremble could set an avalanche of paper. The fan isn't turned on. There's not much dust. There's a hand towel the owner was probably using, and the calendar's been ripped off recently. It's like someone might appear any moment. Like they could already be standing here. But I still don't hear any voices. It's like everyone is just evaporated in the thin air. The only sound ringing out now is my footsteps. A fact that only makes me feel even more alone. I narrow my eyes to take in the interior and strain my ears to hear. There are posters here for things like the Natsugiri Floating Lanterns event and the Summer Festival. Maybe all the town folks are off getting ready for that. That thought helps to calm me down a little bit. A book catches my eye and I flip through the pages. It almost feels like I'm just killing some time with a free little reading while I wait for my train. I almost expect the old bookstore owner to nonchalantly show up, grumbling about this is not a library, and then more passengers for the train would appear too, and this coincidental moment of abnormal silence would shatter into safety. I can make it through this, I'm sure. I can beat back the anxiety growing inside. I take a moment to keep the tears from spilling from my eyes and look over the titles of the books and magazines. One magazine catches my eye, with a feature article called Spirited Away in Natsugiri. The magazine seems to handle mysterious happenings and strange legends from around the world. There's some pretty bizarre articles, including about water goblins in Europe and incantations to change a person's fate. The pages are all yellow and look ready to fall apart. Someone must have picked it up because of the article about their hometown, eventually leading into it to eventually leading it to this graveyard for print. I used the contents page to find the article on Osagiri and read it. At a glance, Notsugiri seems like any normal countryside town, but dig a little deeper to find the persistent legends of people suddenly vanishing. While researching this article, we talked with the former principal of the Notsugiri Elementary School, who wishes to remain anonymous, but is also a local historian who has tracked these legends himself. The legends of vanishing from Notsugiri, he told us, date back to when defeated soldiers first settled here during the Genpei period. Am I saying that right? Genpei period? Children, old folks, adults, and even entire families could just vanish one day and never come back. People say they were taken by bandits or fell into the river, but what they really whisper about, what they really think is the mysterious powers present in this place are to blame. Even today, people still tell their children that they have to behave, or they might be spirited away. Or they might just say, treat your parents right, treasure your friends, or everyone you care for might be spirited away instead of you. Do you want to be all alone, eh? Do you? What's even more interesting is that if one of the vanished gets very lucky, they actually can come back. A traveler at the end of the Edo period was passing through the town and apparently met with just such a vanishing. He vanished. But then, not long after, he also came back. There's a record of this event from the start of the Meiji period? Of course, there's no way to confirm the truth of it today. The record states that the traveler was suddenly enveloped in a bright white light and then awoke. His memories gone in this village, but with no one else here. When he awoke, he didn't even know who he was. He had no memory of even coming to this place. There were fires in the fire pits and tools out in the field, like people had just been there, but he was unable to see a single soul, unable to find anyone at all. He desperately searched the deserted village for any clues to get back to the real world. This is purely conjecture on my part, dear reader, but it sounds like these vanishings in Notsugiri involve individuals somehow finding their way into an overlapping parallel dimension where they can share the same space as other people, but not see them. In any case, the former principal continued his story. The traveler desperately searched for a way back to the world he came from. After walking the entire village from corner to corner, pillar to post, he happened to notice a faintly shining object. Something down on the ground that was shining that was glowing like a ball of light. He gingerly reached out for it, but when his fingers made contact, he saw glimpses of someone in the real world. Memories and feelings connected to that person flowed into him. This part is pretty vague, but it seems that touching something and imparting a strong intent into it allows some kind of message to be transmitted to the real world, triggering someone on that side to also remember the person who has vanished. The truly frightening thing here is that just as the one who vanishes loses their memories, the people in the real world also rapidly start to lose their memories of the person who has vanished. So, it was through the use of an item, some media that connected the two worlds, that they remembered each other. In a blink of an eye, the traveler was back in his original world. Like he had never vanished at all. The world just blinked around him, and before he knew it, he was standing on a hill by the river, right around where Notsugiri Elementary School now stands. And that's where the record ends. After the account from the principal, the author on the article goes on to provide his own theories. There's also a selection of illustrations and photos intended more to perturb the reader than elucidate them. I hardly even seen the images anyway, surrounded within a white light, not even knowing where you are. A child cascades down my entire... A chill cascades down my entire body. My legs are trembling, preventing me from moving. When I start reading, I thought the people of this town were the ones who had vanished. But now it sounds more like I'm the one who's been whisked away from my original world. This all seems too similar to be a coincidence, but is such a thing really possible? It could be some elaborate, well-put-together prank. Or I might just be having some kind of extended dream. This sounds still more likely to me. I feel sweat running down my back. I blink my eyes over and over to see if this makes any difference. Thinking how stupid this is, I take my cheek and my arm and pinch them hard. Not only do I fail to awaken, but the pain on my cheek and my fingers, the clammy feeling on my skin, the nail marks left in my arm, all these things only heighten the feeling of reality around me. The person from the past in this article made it back. That means I still have a chance. On the reverse of that, however, there might have been people who were completely forgotten and vanished forever. Could I maybe meet people like that in this world? Or have I been cast into my own solitary world where no one else here at all? Am I fated to vanish without any idea who I am? With everyone who knows me also forgetting my existence? Gripped by fear, I vow to somehow get myself back. I remember the article. The traveler returned to the area around the grounds of the elementary school. If I go there, I might find further clues. I look around, then I recall the map on the station notice board. The elementary school should be up on the hill, after turning right after leaving the bookstore. I should head in that direction, while keeping an eye out all around me. Those white sparkles I've been seeing seem to suggest a link between this and the next world I've left behind. They also seem to be the only clues I'm getting to get at this moment. I need to head to the school. I will say this is kind of wild. This store, whoa. There's a telephone box here. I tried the receiver, but it doesn't seem to be connected. Fair. Yeah, see, I'm going to check all of these. But it is kind of, this is a cool story. I'm assuming this is a real myth at this point now as well. Right? I mean, it could be. It sounds like something it could be. Well, I'll tell you this right now. I'm already kind of feeling it here from having to talk this much. This is a cool story. I don't know if they had the money to have someone actually read this, but that would have been cool to hear someone read this. But alright, let's check all these real quick though first. There are times here for the collection of letters. If I waited until one of them, would a postman arrive? I mean, most likely that's how that would work, yes, but I'm going to assume it doesn't. Alright, so there's one in front of this store and this one. It looks like a confectionery. I should be hearing the giggles of excited children coming with a handful of pocket money to buy some sugar. That thought only makes me feel even more alone and dejected. There's no point in the police box. There's no one in the police box either. Maybe they're just out on patrol? Okay. So I'm not going to go those ways, because we do need to go this way. Unable to run while... Okay, hold a second. Crouch down. Stand up. There we go. Alright, so we were there. There's nothing in this direction at the moment. Interesting. Okay. So there was two things here, though, right? Yeah, right here and here. Okay. It looks like a general store. In a small town like this one outlet probably tries to stock a bit of everything. There still isn't anyone else around. So what is this place? Ah, It says cafe only below the name. I can't see any customers. I can't smell any coffee either. I really hope the sound of cicadas goes away. So I'm assuming then that we're going this way. So here's the school. It says that this shrine was built during the Kamakura period. The people who moved to this area during that time experienced various disasters and strange phenomena and created this shrine in order to quell the powers responsible. Cool. This is the elementary school. I can see a light from the direction of the school itself. I should head towards it. Do you? You mean that one over there? Is that a light? I reach out for a life preserver, half buried, half hidden in the school grass. Maybe a child playing down on the riverbed forgets to take it home. It's semi-deflated and would normally be easily overlooked. But it's also glowing with a mysterious light, and I sense instinctually that it has some connection with the real world. My fingers touch it. The instant they do, a wave of white light washes over my entire body. Everything instantly turns completely white. I hear people talking, distant. Their voices are warped. Is this the other world I'm seeing? A scene from the real world? It doesn't feel real to me, though. My body isn't there. I reach out with my arms, but there's no reaction. The scenery, smells, sounds, and memories of people, everything is flowing into me from the life preserver in my hands. The sound of rivers rushing loudly. Just a moment ago, the river was flowing peacefully alongside the school grounds. Now, the water changes to a mud-mixed brown and sweeps by in a vicious torrent. The air is thick with the smell of moisture. The sky is covered with rolling black clouds. There's almost no rain actually falling, but the mud is little more than a mudslide. It seems heavy rain has caused the river to rapidly rise. Help! I hear the cry, so faint I almost completely drowned out by the churning of the water. Upriver, close to the base of the falls, I see a small black head bobbing up and down amid the writhing brown torrent. The child can't have long left being swept along at that incredible speed. In the next instant, right at my side, I hear small footfalls, desperately splashing towards me through the mud. A boy who happened to be at the school grounds had noticed the imminent tragedy and comes running over. He fixes his eyes on the drowning child. But for a few moments more, the second child does nothing, seemingly frozen in place. I can see his legs and limbs trembling ever so slightly. His eyes are wide, and he doesn't know what to do, and he seems unable to do anything other than watch the child drown. This muddy torrent is no place for another child, after all. He wouldn't be able to make a difference even if he does jump in. The child shakes his head a few times, trying to push down his fear. Then he looks around. He finds a life preserver at one side of the school grounds. Maybe forgotten by someone, maybe blown there by the wind. It's the same object that I'm holding. What I'm seeing here is a memory of this world as it relates to this life preserver. The child thinks for a moment longer, then he makes his decision. Dashing forward with the life preserver in hand, he slips down the bank towards the river. Even if he can't swim, even with all the mud, that preserver should keep him from drowning. That preserver should allow him to save that child. Maybe that's what he's thinking. He slides down the riverbank from the school grounds and leaps into the brown water. But the volume of the water is just too great, and its surface too roiling. Both children are tossed like dry leaves. They bob up, then sink down again, with no sign of them drawing closer together. It only takes moments for them both to be swept away downstream. If they could reach the ocean, there's surely no hope for them to be saved. At the bridge downstream, adults have noticed the drowning children and are starting a commotion. It starts with a woman on the bridge as she sends up a cry. She might be the mother of the first drowning child. She calls her name over and over, crouching down while clutching her head. Then I see a second adult, a man, rushing over to the bridge. He has a hat and a nightstick, allowing me to identify him as a policeman. He gives his hat to the woman, then jumps over the bridge railing and into the water. He begins the same bobbing and sinking, and for a moment, I think Muslight will take him too. But he doesn't let his wet, clinging clothing hold him back, and he gradually takes command of the mud. While struggling through the current, he makes progress towards the first of the drowning children. In moments, he's grabbed the child firmly with his arm, and then starts swimming back toward the bank. It all happens so quickly. I search around desperately for the other boy who jumps in. Even with the life preserver, he's completely unable to exert any control. Just when I think he's in the clear, his body is smashed into a rock and his head takes a hard knock. The life preserver slips completely off his body and he vanishes into the torrent of mud. All this happens in the same moment the policeman reaches the bank with the first child. All the attention of the adults is fixed on that boy. The first one who fell into the water. Everyone runs over to him. Everyone is worried about him. I search again for the boy who's still in the water, hoping for him to rise up again. By now, he's well past the location of the policeman. He looks like nothing more than a scrap of tattered clothing far away in the mud. He's washed out to sea, without anyone noticing. The memories that follow these events also flow into me. Night falls. Without anyone realizing, the second boy jumped into the river, without realizing he failed in the attempt. The villagers are caught up in the taking the first child to the hospital and shoring up the damage to the roads caused by the landslides. It takes more than half a day for the adults to realize another child is missing. The full-scale search only begins after darkness falls, the clouds clearing and a cold moon shining down. Time continues to resolute, regulating march with no signs of the boy. No one saw him drown after all. The morning light beautifully illuminates the village, and the people start to murmur about another vanishing. When his cold body is finally discovered washed up on the beach. Oh, that's too much. My eyes burn with sadness and I squeeze my eyelids tight and then look up. I find myself looking at the same quiet river that was originally here. I'm back in my empty private world. Everything I just saw was a memory of the world transmitted through the life preserver. I can't see anyone in this world I've wandered into, but I can witness scenes from my original world by contact with objects strongly tied to memories of that place. I look intently at the life preserver in my hands. The magazine article said that finding something which connects the two worlds is key to returning home. This life preserver could be one such link to that world. That's also the reason why such a terrible thing happened to that boy. Even if he hadn't jumped in, the first boy would still have been saved. I wonder if I can't stop the boy from acting, and so prevent this tragedy from ever occurring. By, for example, hiding this life preserver. Interesting. I hear the sound mixed in with the wind in the river. Look, I'm trying my best at reading some of these words. I don't know what that says. The sound of the railway crashing is the first time I've had of anything working. Does this mean the train's running now? It might provide a way for me to get back home. With the life reserver still in hand, I decided to head back to the station. Alright. Head back to the station. Got it. Head back to the station. Alright, so I see there's a... I'd hope someone might be here. That I might have returned to my own world, but this place is as deserted as before. There's still no staff, and no people waiting for the train. The crossing continues to chime, and the doors of the train stand open. They seem to be inviting me inside, ready to depart at any moment. With the life preserver in hand, I board the train, as though inevitably sucked inside. Oh, are we moving? Oh, we're moving. Bye, not so scary. Why do I feel like this is gonna just take me around like this? Huh. I don't like this. Flashbang. I wonder what kind of strange development this is. Without anyone else showing their face, the train started up like magic, and then returned to the same station from which it departed. There still isn't anyone here. I hear the waves in the distance, the unchanging chorus of the cicadas. I suddenly feel pain in my fingers. I'm gripping the life preserver so hard, and my hands feel cold, and my joints and my fingers highlighted white. I look around. Everything is still so quiet. There's something I can't explain. Something about the air in this place also feels different. Is this the same world as before? It almost feels like the train is taking me to a new one. Seemingly identical to the last, but also different in some vital way. I'm drawn out of the train and back toward the school. Let's do this real quick. Wait, did I change some sort of event maybe? Like, because I took the life preserver away, maybe that changed an event? I stand in the same spot, and scenes from the real world flow into me once again. The river becomes a roiling torrent of mud once again. The drowning child cries out for help, splashing through the mudslide of a riverbank. The second child arrives, hesitates, unsure what to do. Everything is the same as the first time experiencing this. He quickly collects himself and starts looking around, looking for anything he could use, something like a life preserver. But this time, he doesn't find it. Taking it on the train with me has made it vanish. The sound of the boy in the river shouting, "Help me," reaches the ears of the boy on the bank. There's clearly a violent struggle inside his small body as to whether he should just throw himself in anyways, even if it means almost certain death. But without the life preserver to bolster his courage, the boy is unable to do anything. His body's too small to hope he can survive that torrent. He covers his ears with both hands, crouches down on the spot, closing his eyes tightly and looking downward. It's almost as if, faced with this world in which a child is drowning in front of his eyes, he wishes to be able to vanish from it, escape from his inability to do anything. A moment later, however, the adults downriver take up the same shouting, a child is drowning. Things after that play out the same as before. The policeman throws off his jacket, jumps in without a second thought, and brings the drowning child to the bank. I breathe a sigh of relief. It looks like no one got hurt this time. I press my hand to my chest, then I look at the second boy, his heart about to be crushed as he desperately tries to escape his world. You've been saved too, I want to tell him. You and the drowning boy, both of you. There's nothing for you to worry about now. But the boy still hasn't moved. He's still crouching in the exact same position. Before too long, more adults arrive in the school grounds. They shout in a panic, asking where the drowning child is. Once they see downriver, they realize the policeman has already completed the rescue and relax. Then they notice the boy covering his ears and crouching in play on the ground. The adults look at each other and they move towards him, puzzlement on their faces. Hey, kid, what do you think you're doing here? One of them, a middle-aged man, angrily asks the boy. The other adults will start to make up some accusatory tune. Were you just watching as Masaki drowned? Is that it? So the drowning boy's name is Masaki. The other adults also surround the second boy and berate him. You could have at least started shouting, raised the alarm. You're lucky that policeman noticed and was able to save him. If it had taken any longer, the poor boy would have been swept out to sea. The others take up the same chant, belittling the boy, who was unable to do anything. It's cruel for them to demand a child make such a decision under such intense circumstances. Not to mention, in the other world that I saw before, he did bravely try to save the boy, and drowned as a result. I get angry at this attitude from the children, or from the adults. Masaki is the son of the president of the big department store chain. If something happens to him, it would be terrible for all of us. Hey, enough of this. I need to get over to the policeman and help get Masaki to the hospital. If we don't pitch it, it will be noticed later for sure. The adults dismiss the second boy for now and move quickly away. It seems the boy in the river is something of a big deal around here. Even so, the attitude of these adults is terrible, giving no thought to the poor boy at all. I look at him intently, still seething with anger myself at how they treated him. He still has his ears covered, for his part looking downward. I can't tell if he's crying in impotent tears or just squeezing his eyes shut and hoping to escape this world. The child slowly fades from view, and I start to hear the voices of a large number of students. The sky is now blue and clear. The children are sitting on the dry ground, all lined up, listening to the principal talk. For a moment, I think maybe my vanishing has ended, and I've returned to the real world. But that isn't the case. Scenes from the real world are just flowing into me again. I try to touch the child. Hey, yo, can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. Don't do that. But I can't. Good. You're not allowed to. Don't do that. Their voices still sound like they're reverberating in from far away. The principal stands in front of them and clears his throat. His face is the same as the photo of the man I saw in the magazine article about the disappearances, although his hair is a little darker and fuller. In the magazine it had said former principal. I'm seeing from him from a time when he was still the actual principal. It feels like connections with those sorts of time periods from Natsugiri's past are flowing into me. The principal starts talking. There's a child standing at his side. It's Misaki, the boy who was in the river. I thought that life or death experience might have rattled him, but he actually looks pretty pleased with himself. Like he's there to get a medal or something. Morning assemblies like these are probably normally pretty boring affairs for the kids, but after the excitement of the near drowning, everyone is paying close attention to what's being said. The principal explains how dangerous the river is when it's swollen. He praises the bravery of the policemen. He comments on how important the lives of each and every child are, how they're unique in the whole wide world, irreplaceable if lost. He finally emphasizes that if any of them were to see someone drowning, they should immediately start shouting and get some help from some adults. He looks over the students, taking in each and every one of their faces. Misaki, standing at the principal's side, also looks from face to face, nodding as he does so. Then I notice the one boy sitting at the back with his face buried in his knees. That's the boy from the riverbank. He's the one who suffered the most as a result of all this. The morning assembly ends. There's a short break before lessons. Everyone runs over to surround Misaki and start asking questions. Was he terribly frightened? Did his parents cry? Misaki still seems pretty full of himself. Looking over them like some kind of conquering hero, he boasts about his return alive, saying he's confident he can face any further troubles life might throw at him, and completely ignores the fact that he was weeping like a baby when the policeman saved him. I'm getting a feeling from the state of the relationships of this school, this Misaki kid is the child of a local celebrity. Even if he's actually a bit of a coward and a crybaby, this is still a small countryside town. Maybe the power and the influence of his parents allows him to use the other kids like his personal henchmen. This attitude is causing him to lose sight of himself. Even if the kids around him started to see what happened, their parents have probably told him not to be rude. Told them not to be rude to him. Some of the kids might really see him as their leader. Then I turn my attention to the second boy. The boy who covered his ears and tried to escape from the world. The other students are still all milling around Misaki, saying how incredible it is that he survived the muddy torrent, and how there was at least one coward who watched the whole thing without calling for help, throwing some shade on the second boy in a roundabout way. The boy in question stands up, saying nothing to anyone, walks over to the far side of the grounds, as though he can't hear any of the chatter around him. He has to pretend. He has to be pretending, of course. Then stands at the spot where he saw Misaki in the river. The life preserver is there, returned by me. He looks at it with an odd expression, then suddenly grabs it with both hands and picks it up. Perhaps a powerful feeling that he can't express in words is rising up inside, or perhaps images from another unseen world. He gives a shout and throws the life preserver into the water. A few people nearby look around, but most of them are heading unaware back into the school. The life preserver is caught up by the wind. It doesn't even reach the river, rolling and tumbling away across the riverbed. There are tears pouring from the eyes of the boy. One kind-looking girl notices him, moves over, and he quickly dries her off. Every part of his body, every mannerism shouts, "Leave me alone." At that point, the memories of the world fade away again, and I'm left in the empty Not Suguri again. I look down at the life preserver, dirty, half buried in the riverbed. I wait for a while, but no new scenes or visions come to me. I pick it up again and think about everything I've seen and everything that's happened to me. I need to get down to the riverbed. Excuse me? We need to do what now? Why are we going down to the riverbed? Do we have to? I pick up the life preserver again. It had rolled down the riverbed after being thrown down there from the school grounds by the boy. I think over the scenes from the real world that I saw surrounding this life preserver and the actions I took with it. I spirited the life preserver away from the start. That saved the boy who was going to drown. That had to be a good thing. Of course, the boy who was saved then had no idea the tragedy he had survived. Don't know what that says. It seems like a fact that I used this object to influence the real world, but my hopes of returning home had not been fulfilled. I can't even be sure that I've done the same thing as this traveler from the magazine. Is this the way to get back to reality? There was a strange light that appeared from the life preserver and the train. Even without words, some kind of mysterious power feels like it's been guiding me. The results may not have been perfect, but I saved the boy's life. That must count for something. Something is connecting me to the real world. I have no idea who wants this, or why. Why someone would want to show me these Natsugiri memory fragments. The article said that the traveler returned when someone in the real world remembered them. So maybe I need to find those connections. Watch these Natsugiri memory fragments to find another moment where our memories overlap. That seems a little vague, but attempting it also feels like my only choice. Then I sense another light off in the distance. Something shining on the other side of the river. Maybe the next item will be the one to connect my memories with those from home. With that hope in my heart, I head out. I reflect that sometimes it might be worse to be forgotten than to forget something yourself. Especially if the entire world is the one doing the forgetting. Natsugiri Memory Fragment 1 complete. Oh, okay. So it's different. Okay. So there's different parts to this. Okay.